this is the one where I gave you the example of when I had to distribute donuts to all the people who had purchased them from me. The way it works in mathematics is that to multiply a sum or difference by a number, multiply each number in the sum or difference by the number outside the parentheses, and then evaluate. Okay, so that may or may not be clear to you right now, but it will be. Now this can be written using numbers as 3 parentheses 7 plus 2 close parentheses, alright, equals 3 times 7 plus 3 times 2. So that just means that where we were multiplying 3 times this sum, this can also be done as multiplying each of these numbers by that 3. So 3 times 7 we wrote here, and 3 times 2 we wrote here. The algebraic way to say this is A times the quantity B plus C is equal to A times B plus A times C. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Example 1, use the distributive property to simplify the expression. Alright, part A, we've got 7 times the quantity of A plus 2. Alright, so to help you see what's going on with this, I'm going to use my algebra tiles. Okay, so I'm going to show my variable A plus 2. Alright, and then I'm multiplying by 7, so that just means that I need 7 groups of what I've just done. So let's do that. So what I have here is a model of A plus 2 done 7 times. Alright, so using this, I can rearrange these however I need to. I know that from the commutative property. So what's another way that I can write the expression that I've been given? So taking my groups, I've got how many A's do I have? Well, I could just kind of rearrange them and alright, so what's another way that we could say what we have here? Well, we've got how many A's? I've got 7 A's. So I can say that as, I can say that as 7 times A, because I've got, and then how many ones? I've got, if you count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 7A plus 14 is what I have. In example 1b, we're asked to use the distributive property to simplify 3 and then times parentheses 4 plus b. So let's see what that looks like. Here's my 3 groups of 4 plus b. Okay, let's see if we can do it, actually use the distributive property to figure this out, and then we'll look at our model to see if we're right. The distributive property told us that we were going to multiply 3 times the 4, which gives us 12. And we're going to multiply 3 times the b. Well, 3 b's would be, if you have b 3 times, that's 3b. So we've got 12 plus 3b. Our next example is 2 times the quantity b minus 5. Alright, now before we do this, just keep in mind, we know from rules for integers that subtraction is the same thing as adding the opposite. So we know that we can think of this as plus negative 5. That's a little bit easier for us to model. So we want b plus negative 5. So we're going to use our reds this time for the negatives. So going back up here, let's do the distributive property. We need to do 2 times b, that's 2b, plus 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. So I got 2b plus negative 10, and that matches what we have here. Okay, so I've done the model for d minus 6 in 3 groups, so 3 times d minus 6. With the distributive property, again, let's write this as d plus negative 6. So we've got plus negative 6. Distribute 3 times d is 3d. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Alright, and that's what we have here. If I take the time to count them all out, I have 3d plus negative 18. So I would say 3d minus 18 for my final answer. Alright, so what we're going to do now, you need to go to the practice page, or to the next page, where we're asked to use the distributive property to simplify the expression. you go ahead and do this page, and then I will share the answers with you. These are the answers you should have gotten for these problems. If you did not get any one of these correct, you should discuss it with a neighbor and try to understand why. And then you will have an assignment from your substitute for more practice on these types of problems to work on during class today.